for science, we are going to be talking about invertebrates today. So that means we're leaving vertebrates behind. We're not forgetting them because they will be on the test. And we will keep reviewing the characteristics for vertebrates. But what is an invertebrate?
It doesn't have a backbone.
Yes, an animal that does not have a backbone. Okay, so we're going to do this chart. All right. So invertebrates, these are the characteristics for invertebrates. Number one, they have no backbone. Number two, they usually have weak muscles. Number three, they usually are small animals with soft bodies. Number four, if they do have skeletons, the skeletons are on the outside of their bodies for strength and protection. And number five, they're cold-blooded. Alright, so this is the characteristics for your invertebrates. And we will be reading it again from your book. So you guys can see it again. Now, I know you have to do that because there's no way for me to hold it towards the camera and hold it towards you guys too. Alright, so let's read the terms. Remember, invertebrates, animals that do not have backbones. Invertebrates. Did you know that a jellyfish is not really a fish?
Yeah.
Think about what makes a fish a fish. Instead of fins, a jellyfish has tentacles. If we think about what is inside a jellyfish, we will find another clue. What is missing that all fish have?
Brain.
No.
A backbone.
Eyes.
A backbone.
Please just raise your hands since you're all blurting out some crazy answers.
A backbone.
Yes, a backbone. A jellyfish does not have a backbone. Fish have a backbone, right? Because fish are a vertebrate. And so vertebrates have a backbone. So that is what the jellyfish does not have. It does not have a backbone. Invertebrates are animals without backbones. Because a jellyfish has no backbone, it is an invertebrate. That little N prefix at the beginning of it means not. So it's not a vertebrate. So it doesn't have a backbone. Other animals such as starfish, remember I already told you that, even though it has the word fish in it, it's not a fish. It is an invertebrate. Get closer, put your foot down and get closer. You cannot read it from that far away. Other animals such as starfish, squids, clams, oysters, snails, and octopuses are invertebrates. In other words, they don't have a backbone. All insects, spiders, and worms are invertebrates. They don't have a backbone. What about a snake?
No.
Is it an invertebrate?
No.
No, it's not an invertebrate. It does have a backbone. Have any of you ever found a snake skeleton? Right? So that proves it has a backbone, right? So it is a reptile. It is a vertebrate. It's a member of the reptile family. We learned that when we studied reptiles. But I have a bunch of people that think because it can slither and squirm and move so many different ways, they think, oh, it must be an invertebrate. No, it has a backbone in there. It just has lots of, think about it, your backbone can bend. Well, they basically, their whole skeleton is backbone, right? All right, so their whole skeleton can help them to bend and move all these different ways. Some invertebrates are so tiny you need a microscope to see them. Others are bigger. No matter what size an animal is, it has what it needs to live in its own way. Invertebrates are usually small animals with soft bodies. Because they have no backbone, they usually have weak muscles. All right, before we go to the next page, look at those invertebrates. There they show you a jellyfish. That's only one type of jellyfish. There are so many types of jellyfish. The next one is a crab. And remember what we read on the chart? We said that if they do have a skeleton, the skeletons are on the outside of their bodies for protection. The crab is one of the ones we're talking about. Do jellyfish have a skeleton?
No.
None at all. Does the crab have a skeleton?
No.
Yes. Yes, it does. It's on the outside of its body. It's what you have to break open to get to that meat. It's what you have to break open to get to that meat. Okay? It is called an exoskeleton, but I would appreciate if you'd raise your hand to say that, not just blurt it out. All right? So that skeleton is on the outside of their body, not on the inside of the body like ours. Ours is on the inside of our body. All invertebrates have it on the outside of their body if they have one. Top of the next page. Oh, the last one is zooplankton. All right, that would be the ones they're talking about. That's an invertebrate that's so tiny you have to see it with a microscope. So that is actually what they look like through a microscope. Okay, top of the next page. Some invertebrates have skeletons. If they do, their skeletons are cover the outside of their bodies for strength and protection. A crab's shell is really its skeleton. Perhaps you have noticed on a warm day that insects are constantly buzzing around, but on a cold day, they move very slowly. Sometimes they just stay on the glass of the window. They are too cold to move about because all invertebrates are cold-blooded. Remember, we already learned that they move slower when it's cold. They move faster when it's warm. They become the same temperature as their surroundings. If the temperature becomes too hot or too cold, they may even die. Vertebrates feel with their skin, but invertebrates feel in a different way. Some of them feel with little hairs on their legs or feet. A lobster, for example, has thousands of hairs on its claws, and that's what he used to feel with. All right, let's read the characteristics for the invertebrate again. I don't want you to lean over to it. I want you to pull your chair up close to it. Thank you. Read number 1.
They have no backbone.
Number 2.
They usually have weak muscles.
Number 3.
They usually are small animals with soft bodies.
Number 4. If they do have skeletons, the skeletons are on the outside of their bodies for strength and protection. And number 5.
They are cold-blooded.
On the page. By the way, these characteristics that we've been reading, they're on our charts. You are going to have to write those for your My Animal notebook that we're going to be doing. That's the major project we're going to be doing this year. And you are going to have to write them very neatly in cursive to put in your My Animal notebook. They will be going into your My Animal notebook. Right? So that will be starting sometime soon. You get to work on it during penmanship time. That will be what we'll do during penmanship time sometime soon. All right, next page. Top of the page. The term to remember that is abyss. Everybody say that word?
Abyss.
Abyss. What is an abyss? The deepest part of the ocean. All right, so where most people don't get to go, the deepest part of the ocean is called abyss. Why are you turning your page? I am on page 186 at the top, that term to remember, and you should be looking there.
I was.
I'm still over there because you haven't even read anything on that page yet.
I was looking there.
You're covering up the page. All right, read the next term. What's the next term?
Tentacles.
A part of an animal's body used for grasping, feeling, or moving. All right, some interesting invertebrates. There are 70,000 species of vertebrates, but there are over 800,000 species of invertebrates. That means that most animals are invertebrates. Some of them are rare and unusual, but many of them are very common. Some of them are venomous. All of them are interesting to look at and read about. Earthworms are long, soft invertebrates. Have you ever fished using an earthworm for bait? Raise your hand if you have. All right. It probably wriggled and squirmed between your fingers. You can notice the color of its blood. Like yours, it is red, but there is something very unusual about how it pumps its blood throughout its body. An earthworm has 10 tiny hearts to do that job. So a little tiny earthworm has how many hearts?
10.
Snails are very interesting invertebrates. They come in all shapes and sizes, but all have a spiral shell in which they can hide. Do you Remember which reptile can hide in its shell?
A turtle.
A turtle. So does that make a turtle an
Tortoise.
invertebrate?
No.
No. A turtle is a reptile, and the snail, even though it has a shell, it is an invertebrate. Like a turtle, a snail also needs a shell because it is too slow to outrun a predator. Alright, next page. And there we see an octopus. The colossal squid is the largest invertebrate. Its giant eyes are as big as a basketball. God gave it such big eyes to help it see in the dark, deep ocean. The deepest part of the ocean is called the abyss. So that would be where you would find a colossal squid. How would you like to have 8 arms? I'm not really asking how you would like to have 8 arms. I'm waiting for you to get back on the right page and stay there. Put your hand down, please. How would you like to have 8 arms? The octopus has 8 arms or tentacles. On each tentacle are tiny suction cups, which the octopus uses to cling tightly to whatever it can catch. Each suction cup has taste buds. That means an octopus can taste everything it touches. Do you remember what some invertebrates have on the outside of their bodies for protection? What do they have? Skeleton, very good. A skeleton. Crabs, lobsters, and shrimp are all kinds of invertebrates that have skeletons on the outside of their bodies. Starfish are beautiful ocean creatures. A starfish can be red, pink, brown, or purple. Most have 5 fragile arms, but some have as many as 50. How many of you ever seen a picture of a starfish that had those 50 arms? Okay? And when you guys do your animal notebook, you might want to print off a picture of one of those starfish that has the 50 arms. To be interesting. If a starfish loses one of its arms, it can grow a new one. Isn't that crazy? The body of a starfish is covered with small pointed spines. Starfish walk on special structures called 2 feet. So on the bottom of each of those arms are little, almost like suction cup things, but they're little spiky 2 feet, and that's what they use to walk or move across the sand or the rocks into the ocean. They use their 2 feet to open the clams they eat, right? Because like I said, they're suction cups too, so they might put one arm on top and one arm on bottom and open that clam right up to eat it. Turn the page. Invertebrates that don't look like animals. At first glance, some invertebrates do not even look like animals, but if we were to study them carefully, we would see that they are. Some of the most fascinating invertebrates are found in the ocean. Sponges, sea urchins, corals, and sea anemones are all invertebrates. All right, and if you look at those pictures, you can see a picture of coral. Coral is an invertebrate. Sea anemones, sponges, and then there is a sea urchin. All of those you could see if you went to an aquarium. So all of those would be invertebrates. They are not plants. Some people mistakenly think these are plants, but they're not. They're invertebrates. All right, and this is not something we could do right now. They're talking about finding an earthworm. They would be super hard to find right now because it's just too cold. Top of the next page. Name 2 things that allow birds to fly. One thing.
Feathers.
Feathers and?
Wings.
That is sort of true, but that's not what they're asking about. Because not all birds that have wings can fly. The ones that can fly, besides having feathers, they also have something else. Who remembers what we read? What?
Talon. 2 feet.
No, it's not the feet, because
They have-
ostrich have 2 feet and they can't fly.
They have lighter bones.
Yes, lighter bones. They were going for the lighter bones. Because think of an ostrich. An ostrich still has wings, but those wings can't get off the ground because it's just too heavy. A bird that flies has feathers and light bones. Okay, lighter bones. What do some invertebrates such as octopus, jellyfish, and squid have instead of legs or arms? Olivia?
Tentacles.
Tentacles. Very good. What group is larger, the vertebrates or the invertebrates? page?
Invertebrate.
Invertebrates, remember we said there were what, 70,000?
Yep.
Invertebrates, but there are 800,000 invertebrates?
Yep.
That's species, different species, so there's more than that in real life. Do all invertebrates look like animals? No, because we just talked about the corals, the sea urchin, the sponges, and the sea anemones that actually look more like plants, don't they?